Hello everyone, back tuning in to today's second video. So we've already done the CFS 6 months look ahead, which is here on the home page. Just scroll down a little bit and you'll be able to find it underneath the link. As I'm just doing a quick update for the JMA 3 monthly update. It's going to go through September, October, November. Hot off the press. This is bringing it to you almost as it happens, and we're going to go through the Northern Hemisphere charts, and then we'll have a look at the tropical and mid-latitude charts as well. This will go into the autumn seasonal model roundup that we're going to do next Sunday. It'll be a week today. We're going to do a long range update where we get around 9 or 10 long range models together, and we have a look at what they're all showing. There's such information you can get with the JMA, but I don't have time to go into all of the information in that video because it's got all the other models to look at. So I like to isolate this one out and just have a look in detail at what it's doing for the next 3 months. So that's what we're going to do for today's second video. I would normally do this either Monday, Tuesday, something like that, but I'm going to be away for a few days. I won't be doing any videos from Monday to Friday, so I thought I'd get this one in early for you. So we'll have a look at the JMA for the autumn in a second. Before I get on with that though, just to say about the ads, there's links to articles on all the pages. If you can have a browse through the widgets and click through the links, you'll be helping us to pay for our website, and thanks very much for doing that. There's video ads on most pages which own that content. When you watch them, they close back up again. It is all helping to pay for gazweatherthese.com. So we're going to start off with the Northern Hemisphere view from the pole down. For September, 500 millibar high denominator. So this is the North Pole just here. Mid-latitudes are around the edges, but British Isles and Europe, area we're most interested in, and the Atlantic, of course, just here. So what we see for the first month of September is that we've got quite a lot of blocking around Greenland and up towards the North Pole. That's fairly unusual for September. You don't often get high pressure up there. We've got above average heights to the north of us, and we've got this trough of low pressure around the UK, extends into the Atlantic and also extends into Scandinavia as well. So it implies that the jet stream is on a southerly track here. It's doing something like that. It looks an unsettled month. We'll have a look at the temperature precipitation knowledge that go with this in a second, but it does look an unsettled month, and you'd expect showers or longer spells of rain and pretty cool temperatures with that one as well. So September gets us off on a cool and unsettled note. Now look what happens in October. The trough is deepening, a very, very deep trough there to the north and west of Scotland during October. This looks really unsettled in October. You would see the jet stream doing something a bit like that. So I'm not sure it's especially cold. It's very Atlantic driven, but the main thing is that it would be wet and windy. I think you'd be bringing frequent bouts of rain in across the country from the west, and with such a deep trough sitting just to the northwest of Scotland, around Iceland, northwest Scotland, with such a deep trough, I think you'd be expecting gales with that as well. So quite a wet, windy, stormy October perhaps being signalled there by the JMA. And then finally we go through to November. So this is November 2016, 3 months away, so it's a long way off, of course. And what the model wants to do then is lift the heights to the south. So it's raising pressure to the south of us. Still got low pressure to the north. This looks very mild. This will be a mild and potentially quite stormy month, especially up to the north. Probably fairly dry, because it's a strong ridge just to the south, so probably fairly dry in the south, but that does look quite Atlantic driven, quite a stormy, potentially in the north type month. And the main thing I think is that it would be a very mild month, because you'd be bringing the air up around that ridge, something like that, and drawing the air up from the southwest of the tropical part of the Atlantic. So cool and wet, I think, is the interpretation for September. Very unsettled and probably near normal temperatures for October, and then perhaps stormy in the north, dry in the south, but very mild potentially for November. That's my interpretation. Let's see whether I'm right. So this is the tropical and mid-latitude view. We have a look at the temperatures with this as well. The British Isles is in the far top right-hand corner of the chart as you're looking at it. This, of course, is the equator. That's the tropical region. This is the Northern Hemisphere. This is the Southern Hemisphere. And then we've got the poles, which are off the chart we were just looking at the North Pole view, of course, but so don't really need to see it again. But the North Pole is up here, and the South Pole, of course, is down there. Right, so that's where we are. This is where the British Isles is again up here. Remember, the 500 millibar high anomaly for September. We're coming back to September for this first update. It looks very unsettled. Low pressure's over the country and extends east into Scandinavia as well. You'd expect this to be quite a wet month, and that's what the model is doing. It's got above average rainfall, perhaps quite substantially so, for September. So quite a wet month. And precipitation, temperature, I should say, is generally coming out a bit cooler than average as well. And I think that makes sense in terms of the 500 millibar high anomaly. You expect quite a cool, quite a wet month. So in agreement with my interpretation there. The wind arrows tell us the mean wind direction. You probably can't make them out all that well, but we've got southwesterlies to the south of us and northeasterlies, northeasterlies to the north of us, which is, of course, we've got the trough of low pressure over us with the wind flow going around like that. So fairly cool air is being entrenched into that trough of low pressure, which is why the temperatures are coming out quite cool in September. October looks very, very unsettled. I don't think it's as cool as we have in September in terms of the anomaly anyway, but it really is a very deep trough this, so you'll expect very wet month in the offing, and again the model is coming out with above average rainfall, although maybe not as above average as I would have thought, because I would have thought with such a deep trough just to our northwest we would go towards the deeper blue colours on the scale there. We don't do that, we stay in the pale blue, so it's just a little bit above average rainfall, but given the deepness of that trough, I do think October has potential to be a very wet month if it comes off. Temperatures still generally a little bit cooler than average, but less so than we see in September. Actually, for the south, probably can't make it out all that well, but for the south, it is actually close to average with temperatures. I think the temperatures would be doing quite a bit better because the wind flow is generally westerly, although actually the wind arrows are coming from sort of a northwesterly point in the Atlantic. So fairly cool air still being entrenched into that trough. But I think the main point about October is that it is a very disturbed month with such a deep trough. There could be a lot of heavy rain, and I won't be too surprised if there's some gale force winds in there as well. And then November, it's 3 months away, so it's right at the end, and of course the reliability as we go along is falling with this, but November raises the heights to the south, and we've still got low pressure up to the north. So the jet stream with that is doing something like that, and I think we're dragging up much warmer air from the southwest. The north could still be a little bit on the stormy side. The south is probably dry and very mild. Let's have a look at the temperatures, and they've gone above average, so that interpretation that we're dragging up the air from the southwest is right. Temperature anomaly is generally lifting up to above average. Again, not going into warm categories. They very rarely do with these JMA charts. They very rarely go to the extremes. I would have thought with such a strong ridge from the Azores in towards Spain, we will probably, if it came off, see temperatures lifting significantly warmer than this is suggesting into this sort of yellow-orange type category 1, 2 Celsius, maybe even 3 Celsius above average. So a milder than average November. Precipitation is still, excuse me, is still generally coming out above average as well. Now I would have thought should be dry. It is Atlantic driven, of course, and to the north and west, certainly you could get a lot of rain with those really mild southwest winds. But for England and Wales, we're close to a strong ridge there from the Azores, so I would have thought it's likely to be reasonably dry down in the south. But anyway, the model's going for a mild wet November. And in terms of the wind arrows, you can see what's going on there, or maybe you can't because it's not that easy to make out, but the wind arrows are generally coming from a southwesterly type direction, dragging up that air into the UK from sort of Bermuda, not Bermuda, but from Madeira, I should say, and also from the Canary Islands, the Azores, that sort of area where it's pretty warm in the Atlantic Ocean. So that's the 3 monthly, the latest 3 monthly thoughts from the JMA. We've done the 6 monthly look everyone see up there. So that's your 3 monthly update from the JMA, all in one day. You're doing pretty well, I think, with the updates today at Gasweather. It's a changeable autumn, and it's going for quite a wet autumn, and September looking cool, quite wet. October, I think, could be very wet, near normal temperatures. And then November, I would have thought drier for the south, maybe still wet in the north and west. Main thing about November is that it turns very mild. This will make up part of the autumn model roundup that we're going to do a week today, a week on Sunday. So that's going to be quite interesting. It will make up part of that, but we won't go through all the charts like this because we won't have time. So we'll just be using the 3-monthly anomalies, 3-monthly anomalies for that particular update. But you've already seen, of course, what actually the JMA is doing on a month-by-month basis. Right, haven't checked out the CFS 6 month look here. Do that, please. Tomorrow, I say I'm having a few days away. There's going to be a couple of videos put on the homepage. So we have a historic video tomorrow looking at the Julys and the summers of 1983 and 2006, a couple of really hot Julys and hot summers. And we're also going to have the winter 2016-2017 methodology, because the winter updates will be starting. I think it's 3 weeks today, but we do the first one, so it's getting very close now. So in anticipation of that, I'd just like to explain what our methodology is, go through all the things that we look at through the autumn so that you know the kind of thing we're going to be doing in the autumn update. So that's going to be on the homepage as well tomorrow, and it'll be kept there throughout the week. Right, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.